Alrighty, well, Shilajit, let's talk about this fascinating compound. I really enjoy taking it. I think it's a daily thing, a long-term thing if you want the benefits from it. We're seeing increases in testosterone, increases in things like tissue integrity, elastin, collagen production. We're seeing benefits at the mitochondrial level for energy and anti-fatigue properties. We're seeing benefits in the brain as well, promoting BDNF, much like lion's mane does, and straightening out TAU protein tangles with the fulvic acid content, so therefore potentially preventing dementia later on in life, or certainly assisting in a positive brain environment. And then we're seeing antioxidant activity increase in the body as well. So it's got a multifaceted array of benefits. It does have limited human studies. There's one really good human study showing the increases in testosterone. And that seems to happen at the 90-day mark. So the first month, second month, we're not seeing huge increases against the placebo group, but in the 90-day period, that's where you start to really see the benefits. And we're seeing an increase in testosterone of around 23.5%, and a similar percentage increase in free testosterone, which is probably more important, as well as a large rise in DHEAS, which is DHEA sulfite, the stored form of DHEA in the body, in the adrenal glands on the kidneys. So it now has more DHEA at its disposal to release into the bloodstream to convert into things like testosterone and other sex hormones. So this would indicate that it's an adrenal gland supporting compound, and this is how it's causing the rise in testosterone. So that is really more of an anti-aging approach. These were 45 to 55-year-old males as well, pretty large group, 96 people split into two groups. One was 36, one was 37. They had some dropouts. So, we're seeing that it's definitely doing something, but it's not the kind of testosterone increase that you're going to see quickly. And that's probably why, in any of our older customers that get on Shilajit, they really notice the benefit fairly quickly. This little jar I'm holding up here, this is a Shilajit resin, by the way. The resin's thought to be more highly sought after, perhaps more concentrated, although it's not standardized. They are purified though, so you want to look for a purified Shilajit, whether it's a resin or a powder. Some of the powders are standardized to the fulvic acid content, so you kind of know where you're at. The resins aren't always, in fact, they almost aren't ever, but they are thought to have higher contents of all the desirable compounds within. And, what's in it is generally thought to be fulvic and humic acids and around 40 trace minerals, and there could even be other compounds that we're yet to fully understand in there too. And there may be an entourage effect with all of these different compounds in the Shilajit. So I guess getting back to the testosterone increases, we're also seeing that happen from 250 milligram doses twice a day. So 500 milligrams a day being the general rule of thumb dose that we're looking for from Shilajit. And that's generally just a dunk of a spoon in a resin like this. And in a capsule, obviously, you'll know exactly how many milligrams you're getting per dose. You stir it around in your coffee and it dissolves if you've got the resin. If it's the capsule, the powder, well, if it's the powder form, you might add it to a coffee too and just kind of slam it down. Apparently the powder tastes the worst. Capsule, obviously, that's self-explanatory. And you've got to stick at it. It really would be the kind of supplement that if you're planning to use it, maybe you want to test it out and take it for 90 days to see if you've felt the benefit. But if you're going to work with it, it's really a daily herb that you're going to use potentially for the rest of your life to get the benefits, the anti-aging benefits and the testosterone, bolstering benefits, etc. And particularly the brain health benefits, right? If we're looking to fight something like dementia later on in life, then you really want to be taking these sorts of compounds daily for the rest of your life to end up at a better point in your elder years. So let's have a little look at how it helps with the mitochondria and I guess the anti-fatigue benefits, because that's something that's probably a little bit underrated as well. We're all pretty, as men, I guess, we're easily turned on to the idea of testosterone boost, and there's certainly anti-aging benefits to that. We know this. But in terms of anti-fatigue benefits, that can be huge. Your energy levels are really everything, particularly as you age. It's really the driving force behind how much you can get done in a day, how motivated you can be, how much physical exertion you can actually put on your body to get through the day effectively. So it seems to reduce the typically induced mitochondrial dysfunction that comes along with fatigue by stabilizing the complex enzyme activities and the loss of an enzyme called MMP among them, which is heavily involved in collagen production. It also helps prevent the accumulation of TAU proteins that cause TAU tangles in the brain, which is thought to be a marker of bringing on early onset dementia and things like Alzheimer's disease. And that's mostly coming from the fulvic acid content. We know that. It promotes neurogenesis in at least one study, mixed with some B vitamins. That's in a rodent model, but that would be quite effective for promoting a great environment for learning and I guess protecting neuronal death later on in life, but also acutely at the time. So you could consider it a nootropic as well. Some of the other anti-aging effects would be due to, we're seeing a rise in antioxidants, the body's own antioxidants. So glutathione, vitamin C, vitamin E, but also we're seeing higher blood levels of other enzymes, one of them being superoxide dismutase, which is probably one of the most sought after enzymes to have. Not only is it a great free radical scavenger, it's thought to be a marker of very long-lived animals. In animals that live to extremely old ages, like sea turtles, superoxide dismutase is found to be quite high in their body and in their bloodstream. So it raises that as well. So not only is it helping with tissue integrity by inducing the expression of genes involved in collagen production, elastin production, blood vessel formation, we're also seeing it raise levels of antioxidants that scavenge free radicals and therefore reduce markers of aging that way as well. So it's acting on so many different fronts. Testosterone increase, again, safe for men and women. It's not going to take you outside your biological comfort zone of the body. It's going to get you closer to your optimal. We've got collagen production and skin. So we're getting the external part of our body supported by this compound, and you're getting the brain supported, and then also the adrenals and the kidneys there. So multifaceted pathways there, and at the mitochondrial level supporting that fatigue response and helping you bounce back faster. Very powerful. I think really anyone looking for a quick test boost, which should still be looking to something like Tongarali, which you could absolutely stack with your Shilajit. But Shilajit is really a consistent daily, long-term supplement to be taking to reap those benefits. And it's really around just having your most, vitalized best long-term. So certainly younger guys could use it, younger women could use it. And you might want to start using it as a preventative and help you with your athletic performance and your recovery from that. It's also reducing inflammation, which is hugely beneficial even to younger people, particularly around your recovery and your ability to continue to perform at a high level and recover faster from mitochondrial dysfunction after, high intensity exercise or long periods of stress. We also saw anxiety go down in rodent models as well, particularly around the study where they were testing for recovery from fatigue. So we're seeing improvements in stress as well, which would make sense. So a great, supplement to bring into your anti kind of stress regime as well. Maybe ashwagandha at night, Shilajit in the morning and night. This is also, a really beneficial aspect of Shilajit. But you want to be using it consistently for a period of time. So it's assisting with heart health and blood vessel formation. This is another aspect of anti-aging that I think should be explored. Some of these things aren't as, exciting when people hear about them. They want 200% increases in testosterone levels. They want this and that. But when you think about how we age and what becomes the weakest pain points in the human body as we age, heart health is going to be right up there. Blood vessel health is right up there. So this would be a great compound to stack with your CoQ10s, your vitamin E, your fish oil, all those other heart health, kind of known heart health supplements that we've been trained over time to take daily to fill in nutritional gaps and make sure that we're optimizing our cardiovascular system. Shilajit sits in there really nicely. And I would really see this as part of anyone's anti-aging stack. It's a really important part of my anti-aging stack. I take it every day. I take CoQ10, vitamin E. I also take NMN. But if you're on a budget, NMN has come down in price significantly these days. It should be accessible to most people now for just a very cost-effective daily dose of around $1 or $1.50. But if you're on a budget and you want a cheaper form of NAD precursor or booster, get some niacin, some vitamin B3, maybe a steady release for about $30 or so, and dose that relatively high, 500 milligrams or so. Flush-free niacin is available in Australia, which will prevent that sort of tingling skin feeling, that kind of irritable response. So that's another way you could come at it, and you could stack that with something like this as well. That'd be a great combination for energy production. So look, that's pretty much the overview. That's some of the studies. You can look all of these up. I'll link them in this video as well, so you can look into them yourself. But they're pretty healthy studies, some great rodent studies. Like I said, only really the one decent human study around the testosterone increase, but it's quite a promising result, and it's quite a decent study. The only thing is it's on a patented form, a trademark form of powdered Shilajit called Primavai. So Primavai is obviously known to be decent. We're looking at least 50%, greater than 50% fulvic acid content in there, but you can find some unbranded Shilajit extracts now in powder form that are pretty much identical. I haven't seen Primavai around as much, but I do see the 50% standardized, or greater than. You'll see the little greater than symbol in a lot of products now. So it's probably just more open market and less, the trademark is probably either dropped off or just not sought after as much because it costs more, and people are finding they can source pretty much the same powder at a lower cost to consumers. So the Switch Nutrition one's a good example of that. I find that to be a good powdered Shilajit. It's in a capsule form. It's the greater than 50% fulvic acid standardized. Fantastic, and you want 250 milligrams in the morning and 250 milligrams in the evening. If you want to replicate that study where they got 23.5% increases in testosterone levels, probably around 22% increase in free testosterone, and a whopping 30% increase in DHEAS, which is probably the precursor to those other increases. So something to put into your testosterone boosting stack, really something to bring you back up to your higher potential baseline. Tongkat Ali could really skyrocket you there too, and you can pull the Tongkat out later if you want and just cruise on the Shilajit, maybe add in some tribulus to sensitize you to your own testosterone and for more libido on top. Although a lot of our customers that are over 40 are talking to us about significant libido increases they're noticing from this, possibly because it's the first time they've used any form of test booster, just due to the amount of exposure it's getting on TikTok and Instagram lately. I think they would notice those sort of increases with a lot of the test boosters that we have, particularly if they combine it with this, just because it's their first time seeing what it can do. And once you've been lifted back to that level closer to your 25 to 30-year-old testosterone window, you start to accept that as your new normal, and you're sort of expecting more now out of your libido and your daily energy and your, confidence and so on. So anyway, that's an overview. That's some of the key benefits of Shilajit that we've pointed out here. Hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions, please reach out, comment below, hit us up on our Instagram in the DMs if you like, or my TikTok account for the store. I've even got my own personal Instagram you guys can probably find. I repost a lot of my stuff onto the Newtown Supplement Store's Instagram. Please do reach out. I just really want everyone to get the information they need to reach these herbs and supplements that can genuinely improve their lives and increase their longevity and their quality of life. And I really do think Shilajit falls into that category. I notice it when I use it. I guess I'll close out with my experience with Shilajit. Certainly over time, libido goes up and refractory period seems to go down. Energy levels are good. I still do need to make sure I don't abuse too many stimulants. And Shilajit helps me recover from that. It's really a Jing tonic. Any Jing tonic helps the kidneys, which is where the Chinese believe your life force comes from. It's the batteries of the body. And that makes some sense considering the adrenal glands release those adrenaline hormones, those different hormones that regulate energy levels, testosterone levels, and so on. And so having those in a good place really does help you have more steady, consistent energy. Having too many stimulants does cause adrenal dumps, and then it probably takes longer for those adrenal glands to recharge their hormone levels for steady use throughout the day. And that might be why you start getting those crashes and eventually feeling quite run down if you overuse your stimulants, or are just exhausting yourself. But Shilajit really helps me with that, helps me get through that and survive that better. But generally speaking, I just need to stick to about 1 cup of coffee per day for my personal use anyway, or a more steady release caffeine like a green tea, an oolong, or yerba mate, which I find to be my favorite. But, I use it for that, for the anti-fatigue benefits, for recovering from my workouts better, which, certainly goes down after 40. And that's where I'm at now, and I'm seeing that decrease in ability to recover as fast, and also the energy drop while I'm recovering. But Shilajit helps mitigate that. Not completely, but just it's improved that window for me. And it's just a great brain booster too in the morning. I find when I stir into the coffee shortly after, I have a bit of clarity, a bit more focus, and I do combine it with other nootropics like CDP, choline, and lion's mane to accentuate that benefit. But for that reason, it's always in my nootropic stack / anti-aging stack. And it's a cornerstone of my testosterone boosting stack. I take this, vitamin D, boron, zinc, Tongat Ali when I need a boost and I pull it back out, fenugreek and tribulus for the libido enhancement, and also for kind of just overall health. They also have antioxidant properties and hormone balancing properties as well. But I use the more extreme herbs like Tongat as needed, just so I don't get into that sort of anger zone that I can get with Tongat Ali. So that's a bit of an insight into my stack. I take NMN as well. I'd be happy to take large doses of flush-free niacin if I didn't have access to NMN at a reasonable price. And sometimes I stack both anyway, B12, B1, and so on. And most of that you can get from your multivitamin stacked in with these. And that is pretty much my regime at the moment. Obviously, creatine's in the mix as well, and there's a host of benefits that we talked about recently in regards to creatine, and you'll be hearing a lot about that at the moment anyway, so I'm sure you're getting access to that information. So yeah, please reach out if you've got any further questions. Hopefully that helps demystify this resin a little bit. Do look out for purified. Make sure it's nice and thick. Any really thin, runny ones, you want it to be really dark and black and no opacity to it whatsoever. But if it's extremely runny, it could have been watered down with molasses, and you might have, I guess, the Shilajit that is, in terms of the resin anyway, that is a little bit overpriced for what you're getting. So some of those really cheap internet brands, just be wary that they might be watering it down with molasses. It won't do you any harm, but you are just getting less bang for your buck. And so you might be saving 10 or 20 bucks, but really you could be dropping 20, 30 bucks in terms of how much quality ingredient is in there, and really just getting underdosed. So check for it to be nice and thick and dark. It should have a really peaty, bold flavor, very, it's sort of like Vegemite flavor, really bold. Or like a really peaty whiskey. And it shouldn't run very fast off the spoon unless it's the dead of summer like it is right now in Australia. It's running a little bit quicker, I notice, but in winter it should be very slow dripping. Otherwise, if it's running like honey in winter, you've probably got a watered down molasses variety. So, Black Mamba's good. The Primal Alchemy that we also stock is very good. These are both Himalayan Shilajit resins. We have capsules from Switch Nutrition, standardized to the fulvic acid content, and a couple of other brand options as well. So if you need any access to this herb, reach out. We'll certainly connect you with a decent brand at a decent price, and make sure you're getting the most out of your Shilajit. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Peace and love. Speak soon.